What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Band of Barbers Podcast. And we are back in our Band of Barbers Academy classroom today. And here to just give you guys a quick bit of motivation and to talk to you guys real quick, not too long. Probably not going to be a long episode today. But I just really want to encourage you guys that if you are in school, looking to go to school, if you're in if you're in a shop, if you're working, listen, you have the opportunity to you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Okay, you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself, to change who you are, and become someone better. Listen, all the time, guys, we are upset and by our circumstances. For a lot of people, I won't say everybody, but for a lot of people, we are upset by the circumstances that we are in, and that's reasonable. It's okay. I get it, but you have to, guys, work on yourselves, right? We've talked about it before as far as work in the business or on the business. You got to work on yourself, right? You can't just always exist in a place. It doesn't always work like that. It does not. You have to work on you. And so what are the things that you work on? Listen, you need to I'll be honest with you. Like, if you're in a bad relationship that's affecting your work, you need to work on your relationship, right? If your work is affecting your relationship, right? If you can't go to work and do the things that you need to do without always needing someone needing you, I'm going to say this. You have to understand, right? And the people in your life have to understand that if you are just a barber, right? You're not doing anything else in the beginning, while you're in school, while you're doing these things, just because you're working to free up your time so that you can control your time, does not mean that you now have free time to support everyone else and in their lack of planning or things of that nature, right? You have to focus on you and what you are doing. It's really just that simple. It's not complicated. It's not a complicated theory, guys. You have to work on you. I heard somebody say this the other day in a podcast that I was listening to, and he said, and the host or the guy that was being interviewed said something that was it was big to me, and it may be big to you. It may not be big to you, but I'm going to share it anyways because it's my podcast. What he said is what's good for me is good for everyone else. And I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but that was generally what he said. What is good for me is good for everyone else. So the best thing that you can do is take care of you. All the examples, put your when you're on a plane, if you've ever been on a plane, they tell you put your mask on first because you can't help someone if you're struggling. And I hear you. I hear you. You're saying, oh, well, I've helped people when I wasn't really in a good situation. Okay, I hear you. But if you're telling me I helped somebody when I wasn't in a good situation, you probably have a little bit of resentment towards that, right? You probably has some issues with that. And it is what it is. Okay? It really is what it is. But I'm just telling you that when you're giving from what you don't have, you're taking away from you. Say that again. When you're giving from what you don't have, you are taking away from you. So you are making up the deficit. You have to make up the deficit because you give someone else what they feel like is your excess, but it's actually your survival. Like it's your necessity, but you're giving it away because you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to take care of this person because they did so much for you." Wise man told me one time, if you feel like that you've got a debt, how long are you going to pay it? At what point is the debt paid back? And it was interesting because you know what I said? I said, I don't know. Because I just felt like it was an infinite debt. And he said to me, he said, you know what? He said, and I guess you're just paying interest then, huh? And I understood it. I understood what he mean. He says, you're not paying down on the principal of the debt. You're just paying interest on it. And you still feel like the debt is there. So you're bouncing, right? You're not doing what needs to be done. Right? He said to me, he said, I understand that they did something great for you. They did something good for you, but how long are you going to pay back this debt? And his point in that whole thing is that me paying a debt back was hindering me from living. Because I always lived with, if I get anything extra, I know where it's going. If I do this, I got to make sure the day okay. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, so it just became this thing, and it was eating away at me. And what was ended up happening is that I was paying the interest and angry. I was paying the interest and I was angry. Do you hear me? I was angry paying this interest. Why? Like, what? And then it just, I'm going to just say it how I felt. It just became unfun. It was unfun for me to pay this interest back. So again, if you're dealing with some sort of relationship issues, and it doesn't have to be a spouse or significant other. It may be family. It may be friends. It may be this. Listen, you have to be present behind the chair. You have to be present. This is not something that you can do where you can cut your break. This is not a factory job. Every client that sits in your chair is different. Their hair is different. Every time a client sits in your chair, it's different. You have to keep that in mind. So you need to be aware of what's going on. If you live in thinking, man, I got to do whatever because, what about this? What about, like, if you can't go, and like I said, a lot of people become barbers because they seek freedom. Freedom from an employer, freedom from whatever it may be. But if you can't go to work, all right? If you can't go to work and leave what's happening outside of work behind, you have some things that you need to work on. Now, before you jump in and you say, well, what about, listen to me. I'm not saying that things do not happen. Are we clear? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that things don't happen. What I'm saying is that you need to work at becoming a better person, right? A better person. You need to do, and sorry, that better person is probably the wrong term. But you need to do some you need to look inside self, do some personal development, work on how you deal with your emotions, how you deal with your feelings, how you deal with what's going on in this world. Because I promise you, it's not going to stop and or change. It's not. It is not going anywhere. So you can let everyday life beat you up and take you off your path from what you said you wanted to do. Oh, go talk to a pastor, go talk to a therapist, get you someone that you can talk to get that stuff up off of you. Don't let it live inside of you and control everything that you do. Because I want you to think about this. If you go to work with all of your issues, and I'm not saying that you signed up to be a therapist, but you signed up to serve the community and work with people. And as you know, for most, and we're talking about men here, for most men, the barbershop is therapy. The barbershop is therapy. So if you're going to take and lug all of your baggage into the shop, and you're letting it affect how you talk to customers, how you deal with customers, how you do all of these types of things, and for the ones that say it's not my responsibility to deal with them, listen, this is what we're doing. I've had people come into the shop and talk about how depressed they were and how sad they were and the things that they thought about in the dark times that I don't really know them that well, but they felt safe enough to share it with me. I've had those conversations. I've had very dark and sad conversations. People cry on me because they don't know what to do. People tell me about all of the stuff that's going on. You have to be prepared for this. You bring all of your baggage to work. Let everybody at work have your baggage, and then get clients who bring their baggage to you, and they share it with you. And now you've added, boom, now we're piling on top of each other. Now we're piling it on top of each other. And we're piling on and piling on and piling on, and you're so tense and you're so angry and you're so stressed and you don't know why. You've got to have an outlet. You have got to do what is best for you as a barber, as a parent, as a business owner, as you have got to do what's best for you. I'm going to tell you what's not best. And this is speaking from experience. Being cold, shut off, and closed. No emotions, no feelings, no smiles, no anything like that. It's not going to work. Because you just loading it down, loading it down, loading it down, loading it down. And at some point, it's going to get so heavy that you're just looking and you're trying to understand, where do I go and how do I go and how do I move? And you don't know. And you're looking for anybody to please, somebody come and save me because I am broken. You have got to work on you. You have got to work on you. I'm telling you, listen, I am a military veteran with PTSD. I'm telling you from experience. Oh, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. So, I mean, if that's, that, like, I'm telling you from experience. And the moment I opened my mouth and I told the truth and I got help, the moment that I opened my mouth and I told the truth and I got help, things got lighter. Things got easier. Do you understand? Things got lighter, things got easier. I understood I have a responsibility to the community that I serve to come in the best way I possibly can. Was the best way 2 years ago the best way today? No. I got better because I had outlets. I had things that I was doing outside of there to work on me and to develop me as a person, to be a better me for me so I can be a better me for my clients. I can be a better me for my wife. I can be a better me for my children. You have to care that much. You are a civil servant to the community. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what you did before this. Listen, and this is to my street guys and gals and everything like that. Listen, the barbershop is not a hustle. It's not a place to hustle out of. It's not a hustle. The barbershop is a community staple. It is a community staple. That's what it is. It's a community staple. If that's what you want to do it somewhere else. But I take barbering very serious because barbering saved my life. Barbering kept me at peace. It kept me at peace. Even with dealing with all of the things that come along with clients and the stresses and everything like that, I would rather do that than to sit in my own misery every day. So I became better for me so I could be better for them. I became better for me so I could be better for them. You're a community servant, guys. That's what you are. That's what you do. Now, we had a conversation with a platform artist and hairstylist who's been in the industry 27 years. Had a conversation with her just the other day. And we were discussing and we were talking about something very similar to this. You know what she said? She said, for people like that, they should work on becoming a platform artist. There's a place in the industry for you, but it may not be to stand behind a chair every day. Maybe you be a platform artist. Maybe you develop your own products. Maybe you do something else. But I'm just saying, guys, and this is kind of a rant. And guys, you may not like it. I'm telling you, but I'm just telling you though, you have to work on you, physically, mentally, and emotionally. It is what it is. Gotta work on you. On you. Care and love yourself. You're in a shop, you stand in front of the mirror every day. Can you look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that I love you and that I will become a better me because I do love me. I will become a better me because I love me. It's just it, guys. It's just it. Guys, and this may have been a message, and you're like, man, where was DeVaughn going with this today? Listen, I gave you guys this message. I'm giving you guys this message truly because I care about you. I care about you. And we're talking about getting all of those barriers out of the way. And this is what I'll say. When we talk about getting those barriers out of the way so that we can earn at our full potential, do those things, one of the big barriers a lot of times in the way is you. The big barrier in the way is you. It's not anybody else's fault. It's not somebody else's fault. The big barrier in the way is you. We talked about yesterday putting the work in. If you've done everything you can to become an independent barber, and now you're a barber, you're an independent barber, you got a key to a shop, you got a place to work, you got a chair, you got the tools, you got this, you got that, and you sit here and you tell me, man, I ain't got no clients, I ain't got no customers. Whose fault is that? It's a real question. Whose fault is it? Oh, with a shop owner? No. Not you, independent barber. Well, don't nobody want to pay my price. Well, my price is my price. I'm not going nowhere on my price. Oh, okay. Sound like that price gonna have you hungry. Were you really ready to charge that price, or did you just decide that was what you was gonna do? I don't know, guys. I mean, I care about you guys, and this was just something that was on my heart and on my mind today, and I just thought about it, right? And so I'll leave you with this. If you don't know what to do, ask for help. If you don't know what to do, ask for help. It is what it is. Ask for help. Asking for help is okay. I say this again. Asking for help is okay. Oh, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I ain't doing nothing like that. Okay. I mean, okay, you gonna stand on your own 2 feet, you ain't doing nothing like that, blah, 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 blah. I ain't talking to nobody about my problems, okay. What I got going on, they wouldn't understand anyways, okay. You'd be surprised. The people that you may have been talking to may not be the ones that you need to talk to, but maybe you need to talk to somebody else. Maybe you need to find a professional. Oh, well, I talked to somebody one time and they really didn't understand what I was talking about. They made me feel weird. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down just like I've said before. The same way that a client has the right to hire and fire whatever barber they choose, so do you, in the sense of anything that you do, whether it's a therapist, a preacher, you have the right to hire and fire whoever you choose. If you are paying money for a service, you have a right to make a decision. If you've opened yourself up to know enough, if you open yourself up enough to know that this is what I need and this is what I'm going to do, you open yourself up enough to know that, then you just need to see it through and do the work. See it through, do the work. What am I looking for? You don't know what you're looking for? Write it down. What am I looking for? Boom, 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 boom. Hey, maybe it's I want somebody to listen to me like my mom does, or my mom did, or my grandma did, or whatever. I need somebody to give me real advice, yada, yada. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll never find it because you never knew what you was looking for. I want you guys to be better. I want you guys to grow. I want this industry to grow. And the industry growing just based on skill set is one thing, but the industry growing based on personal development and real growth and things that don't change. I want you to become a better father and a better mother and a better husband and a better wife and a better son and a better daughter. I want you to become all of those things. At the end of the day, a better barber is great, but a better human being, a better person on this earth that provides so much to the community is what I would really like to see. Don't just look to become better. Don't stop just looking to become a better barber. Can we stop doing that? Can we stop just looking to become a better barber? A better barber and a crappy person doesn't really work. You're going to struggle. Right? We spend all this time and we talked a lot about customer service and everything like that. That's great. Wonderful. Woo. But a better barber and a terrible person does not work out. You're going to get what you do outside. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to close with this. I'm gonna close. I promise I'm gonna close. Some of you may not believe this, but I want you to hear me out. Some of you may not believe this, okay? What you do outside the shop does affect what goes on in the shop. Again, most barbershops in most communities are a neighborhood staple. So if you have a barbershop in a community, you're a neighborhood staple, all right? And you out in the streets doing whatever it is from the time your shop closes to the time your shop opens, and then you come in like the best professional in the world, people see that. And while some people may deal with you for skills, humans like to interact with good humans. Humans like to interact with good humans. It's just what it is. I'm giving you my money. I want you to be a halfway decent person. So in a lot of cases, I do. I want you to be a halfway decent person. If I know of you, now if you're not in the community, it still affects. It still affects. What you do outside the shop does affect what goes on in the shop. I just want you to keep that in mind, guys. Just want you to keep that in mind. Thank you for listening to my rant for the day. I'm your host, DeVaughn Evans. This is the Band of Barbers Podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Listen, guys, if you want to have more conversations like this, I would enjoy it. If somebody wants to call in and talk, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. These are things that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about you guys becoming better humans, not just better barbers. Skillful barbers are everywhere. Skillful barbers who are good humans, who are professional, who are. It's a small window. It's a small window. I want to make the window bigger. I care about you guys. I'm passionate about your growth, personal development, just like I'm passionate about my personal development. There are things that I still need to work on. I'm not gonna lie. And so today's message was just as much for me as it was for y'all. So hear me out. It was. It was just as much for me as it was for y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a good night.